put it on a record mode. And then let's see.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yes. Okay, I've asked them to look in for the settings also. So let's see. They are searching in the settings. If anything they get to know, they'll get back. Okay. Now, first, let's understand what is 56.2.10. Here, I'm talking only about immovable property. By immovable property, we are referring to land, building, or both land and building. Okay, so it's either land, building, or both land and building. This should either be given without any consideration or for inadequate consideration. Without consideration is fairly easy to understand. There is no exchange of monetary sum happening here. Okay, so without consideration means no amount is being paid towards it. Inadequate consideration means there is a difference in stamp duty value and fair market value. Okay, there's a difference in your stamp duty value and the fair market value. Now, stamp duty value is more than that of your fair market value. Say, for example, stamp duty value is 50 lakhs, whereas the fair market value is, or rather, let me put it this way. Stamp duty value is 50 lakhs, but the amount paid or the actual amount of consideration happens to be only 40 lakhs. So they say if it is the difference, if it is 50,000 or 5% of the actual amount paid, whichever is higher. So they are saying up to rupees 50,000 or 5% of the actual amount paid. If that is the difference, it is okay, because that much would be the cushion amount that they are giving. It's a cushion that they are giving. But if it is more than that, then the entire difference will be taken as income in the hands of the recipient, the one who is receiving this immovable property. This is your section 56.2.10. In this case, 10 lakhs is more than 50,000 or 5% of actual amount paid. Therefore, that 10 lakhs will be taken as income in the hands of immovable property. There is no change with regard to it. What is changed here is they have given a list of, they have given a proviso. They have added a proviso here in this section, and they said we will give one exemption to a class notified. Okay, they gave a proviso in this section, and they said that we will, any class which we specifically notified will get exemption from this particular section. That is, if for inadequate consideration or without consideration, also if immovable property is received, it will not be subject to income from other sources for this particular category only. This was only there, that's all. This was only the amendment which came. Later on, government also notified one class here. Okay, they also notified a class here. What is this class? Let's understand that. So first, what they have added is they have added a proviso. Okay, it's only a proviso that they have added. Now, with the power that they have got in this proviso to add class, they then said that if a resident of unauthorized colony in NCR, National Capital Territory of Delhi, is receiving such property with a central government transaction approval, okay, where they have notified in the official gazette, this one, then they will not be subject to this particular income. They will not be having this added into their income. Now, what does this mean? Let's understand one by one. First thing, To whom is it applicable? Unauthorized colony. Resident of unauthorized colony. Only if he is receiving this property, immovable property, for them, this will be exempt. Second thing, this resident property should be in Delhi, National Capital Territory of Delhi. Okay. What is important here is central government should have regulated this particular property. So central government would have made this property authorized and then they are receiving this thing. Does anyone have any idea or background about this unauthorized colony of Delhi? It was a huge topic of news. Somewhere in December, Diwali, last Diwali, almost a year back. Can anyone tell me? First, let's understand what happened and then we'll come to the section. What happened that the residents of unauthorized colony got this exemption? Anyone? A little background? Okay, I'll tell you what happened here. So if anyone who has been to Delhi, you must be aware that there are many colonies who are not authorized. What do you mean by not authorized? The building or the layout is not approved by the local authority. That means it is unauthorized. So they will not be even given the basic facilities like water supply, sanitation, and electricity also. Everything would be illegal there. They would have, taken up the wire connection themselves, or the builders would have done it somehow. Because there is a risk associated in staying in such unauthorized properties, the value of such property is also very less compared to the other colonies. Okay, and almost 1,700 plus colonies were given authorization or regularization last Diwali. So there was an act passed and there was a PM Uday program, all of that was there. And they had basically been regulated. So because it is unauthorized, they don't have any proper documents, okay? They don't have a registered deed in their name. Maybe even if they have, it has not got any legal value. Why? Because it is unauthorized colony. So either they'll be having a power of attorney, or they'll be having a will, or they'll be having a sale agreement. Okay. They will not have a proper registered sale deed. Even if they have a sale deed, it will not be a registered one. Why? Because it is not authorized. If it is not authorized, government will not have their stamp duty value itself. That's why, that's the way they'll be holding the property legally, either power of attorney, will, sale agreement, or sale deed, which means there is a risk here. Even though the property belongs to them, they cannot fully claim the ownership of these properties. They cannot pledge it or take loan. All those things will be affected. So what happened here is, last Diwali time, government has regulated around 1,700 plus colonies. So they said, they had listed a few colonies and they said we would make it as an authorized colony. So anyone who is a resident of these particular colonies, now you can register your property in your own name. Say Mr. X belonged here. Mr. X belonged here. He was a resident of unauthorized colony. So X would have taken up the property 5 years back, 10 years back, and say he's taken it at 10 lakhs. Today he'll be registering. Once it becomes authorized, the government will have the stamp duty value and everything. Say for example, upon registration, the stamp duty value came to around 40 lakhs. Now, he is getting the property now in his name. Even though he is actually the owner, it is only now that he is receiving this immovable property. He paid 10 lakhs, but the property is now got a stamp value of 40 lakhs, which means 30 lakhs he is getting additionally without any consideration. So automatically 56,210 will apply here because he is paid only 10, but the present day registration which he is getting is for 40 lakhs. Of course, he has to pay stamp duty and everything on 40 lakhs, but the value which comes in his property documents becomes now 40 lakhs, at least stamp duty value. So now this 30 lakhs difference is more than 50,000 or 5%, and he would have been subject to 56,210. So 36 lakhs, 30 lakhs would have been taken as income from other sources. But since it is all coming under a regularization scheme given by the government, they have also brought about the corresponding amendment in income tax, and they say this category is an exemption or exempted category. Therefore, this proviso has this particular class included. Okay, this proviso therefore has this particular class included. Let's see once more what it is talking about. So there are two terms we have to understand, that he has to be a resident of unauthorized colony. Resident means he is having physical possession of the property. Okay, he's having some kind of a deed, registered sale deed or latest power. There will not be a proper registered sale deed. Okay, it will only be some kind of, because it's unauthorized colony, you can't have a proper registered sale deed. Some kind of a registered document maybe. Latest power of attorney, agreement to sale, will, possession letter, any other document which will evidence that he is the owner of the property. Please remember, by resident we are referring to owner, not tenant. Okay, ownership will be given only to the one who is the owner there, owner of the property, not a tenant or licensee or permissive user. Permissive user means with permission if he is staying there. It's not belonging to him, the property, but with permission if he is staying there. So tenant, licensee or permissive user, they will not get this. It's only the owner who will get this, because the ownership is ultimately being transferred here. He should be a resident of unauthorized colony. Colony means they have not, no approval. No approval has been taken for layout or building plan. And they have been identified for regularization since March 2008. So this issue is a long pending issue, and some political issues also are there here, which I don't want to get involved into right now. So this is from 2008 itself going on, the regularization process. It's still in process only is what some say. Sorry. Okay. So now what the government did is they have notified that 56,210 shall not apply if it is received by resident of unauthorized colony in NCR, National Capital Region or Territory of Delhi. Subject to these conditions, okay? You know very well who is a resident. You know very well which unauthorized colony. Only those who have been identified for regularization purpose. Only those ones. And they should have some kind of a proof claiming the physical ownership of the property. Could be a sale deed, will, even the legal heirs, even if they don't have it in their names, if it is in the ancestor's name, even if they have a will stating that the property belonged to them, that is also valid. So this was your next amendment. Anyone has any doubt here, or is it clear? You've understood what is 56,210. Can I move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I hope the background is also clear and you're able to connect it. Please understand it's only of Delhi region. Okay. Let me move on to the next amendment. This is again an income from other sources. They are saying that we are permitting other electronic modes for certain sections. We have come across this term 10,000 not in a single day. Payment not exceeding rupees 10,000 not in a single day if it is done. disallowance will attract. You've come across in so many sections. I'll be even coming across which in all sections you will do it. But you all remember this 10,000 rupees plus they have prescribed certain modes. What are those modes? Account pay check, account pay draft, or electronic clearing system. So we have many sections which says not to pay more than rupees 10,000 in other than prescribed modes. So account pay check, account pay draft, or electronic clearing system. The basic reason is that these three instruments used to give them traceability. The bankers were able to trace from which account the money is coming and which account the money is going. Same thing with the other two also. So they were able to trace this. It used to give them a traceability, and black money was easily avoided if they had gone through this channel. That was the whole purpose. Now with changing times, they have also introduced a few more modes. Let's understand the modes. I'll come back to these sections. So now they say we are including also, there was one section, I'll come back here. 48.3, okay? And you had rule 6DD, interconnecting to that. Now you have a different rule. It's 6A I'll come back to what this rule states, but let me first tell you what are the other modes they are permitting. So apart from your account pay check, account pay draft, electronic clearing system, they say if the payment is done through credit card, debit card, net banking, IMPS, okay, immediate payment service, UPI, Unified Payment Interface, RTGS, NEFT, or BEAM or Aadhaar Pay, all these are also permitted and recognized mediums. So if the amount is more than 10,000 and paid through these mediums, it is as good as paid by account pay check, account pay draft itself. So they have extended the list of 3 to include these many other payments also. With changing times, it's a required provision also. No problem here. Couple of things we have to still understand here before I move on. Now, let's take a look where and all were you coming across this 10,000 rupees. Kind of a small recap only. Let me take it up here itself, it will be easy. 35 AD. 35 AD, which was regard to your specified business. Okay, capital expenditure for specified business to be done only by these modes, and you had the cap of 10,000 rupees here. 48.3 or 3A, you know very well, 10,000 rupees was towards any payment. We're talking about single and aggregate payment during a day to a single person. Should be, if it is more than 10,000, it should be paid by only these modes. Basically, bearer check, cash. This is what they are, or bearer draft. This is what they were trying to avoid. That is made much more clear now. If it is given to any goods transport agency or operator, that is your transport operator, instead of 10,000, it used to be 35,000. It's the same even now. 43.1, this is for your capital asset, actual cost of capital asset for computing depreciation purpose. Even here it was 10,000. 44 AD, this was with regard to your presumptive income. Okay, so what was mentioned here was, if you're falling or if you're opting for 44 AD and you're receiving all the amount, that is any amount that you're receiving, any portion of amount of turnover or gross receipts, if you are receiving in these mentioned or prescribed modes before filing of return, then you will be eligible for a concessional rate of 6%. Otherwise, 8% rate will be applicable on that thing. So if you all remember, we used to bifurcate this into 6 and 8. Whatever turnover we had received in prescribed modes used to fall under 6% category, otherwise in the 8% category. 43 CA, 50C, 56 to 10. All the three things have the same thing in common. They are all talking about immovable property here. Okay. What is this? I'll take up all the three together. Okay. So you have 43 CA, 50 C, and also 56 to 10. Now, what is happening here? Stamp duty value, this is all with regard to immovable property, land, building, or land and building both. All of them have stamp duty value and you have the actual amount. Okay. This is if there is any conversion of property into stock in trade. This is for your capital gain computation. Okay. If you're selling a property held as a capital asset. And this is if the person is receiving the property. We just now saw 56 to 10. In all these cases, stamp duty value was taken up. But if you all remember, stamp duty value can be on two dates. One is date of registration and one is agreement date. So we had registration date and agreement date. Comes a question which one to take. Say for example, stamp duty value at the time of registration. Agreement happens first and then the registration. So at the time of agreement, it is 50 lakhs. And agreement date, it is say 45 lakhs. Comes a question which one to take. Should we take the agreement date 45 lakhs as stamp duty value or 50 lakhs as the registration date stamp duty value? We used to refer to whether advance has been paid or not on the agreement date. So there, on the agreement date, if there is any advance amount paid in the prescribed modes, it was very important that it has to be paid only in these prescribed modes. Then you will be taking up this, otherwise you'll be taking it up on the registration date. So again, what is prescribed modes? It is very important we come to this amendment. Apart from your account paycheck, account pay draft, electronic clearing system, you also have now these permitted routes. Clear? Last one is 80 JJAA. So if you can recall this one, it was for additional employment opportunity given. And 30% was the reduction that they used to claim. If that payment of emoluments, that is payment of your salary and other amenities or total emoluments, if that is paid in the prescribed modes, only then they were eligible for this reduction. So for all these sections, there is no amendment in these sections, please remember, it's just a recap given to you here. In all these sections, what have they done is they have increased the permitted or prescribed modes. Okay, they have included all these also as the prescribed modes. Why? Because again, here you can trace where the money is going, from where the money is coming and where the money is going to. It is easy to trace here and therefore it is all permitted. Rule 60D is also there, but you have a new rule now. It is called 6ABBA. Keep it simple, 6 ABBA. Okay, 6 ABBA for our purpose. Okay, it's not meant for that purpose, but it's okay. It's easier for us to remember. Rule 6 ABBA here says that we have included up these things. And one more thing, if you remember Rule 6DD, if you can recall 6DD, there what they said. They said if there is a bank holiday or a strike, then in those days, it is okay if you're using any other mode also. That is, if there is a bank holiday or a bank strike going on a particular day, and that day if we are making payments through other than prescribed modes, it was okay. But now they say for making payments in these modes, there is no necessity for a person to go to bank. Therefore, they have brought about this rule. They have inserted Rule 6 above, and this particular case has been omitted. Okay, this clause has been omitted. So now, even if there is a bank holiday or a bank strike, you cannot use any other modes. If you use any other modes, that amount will not be eligible for deduction. Okay, if you're paying salary, if you're buying any kind of a property, or for your all the above sections that we have seen. Yes, you know the impact. There will be disallowances. So that will be applicable because they have omitted this clause in Rule 6 above, and they say this is with effect from 29/1/2020. Okay, so more than 10,000 if it is paid other than prescribed modes, even if the bank is having a holiday or a strike, it would attract disallowance. Because for making payments in card, net banking, IMPS, RTGS, NEFT, everything, we do not require the banks to be open. We can do it online, and that's how I think the entire COVID, everything has been functioning too. So they say, this was pre-COVID. So they say, with effect from 29/1/2020, yes, another date to remember. This is become in play. Okay. Now, be very careful even here when they ask you questions. They will ask you the mode and they will give you a bank holiday. It can come as an MCQ or as a proper question too. They'll give you a bank holiday and they will say the person is, making a payment through this particular mode. Check whether that particular mode falls in the list or not. And accordingly, if it is not in the prescribed list, you will have to give the disallowances mentioned. Clear with that? Earlier, if payment was made on a bank holiday in other than prescribed modes, it was okay. But now it is not okay. You have this Rule 6 above taking care of it. This is the next amendment. So this is with regard to your income from other sources. In the 5 heads, there is only these amendments here. Next, let's take up TDS sections. There are 2 amendments here, 194N, 194M. Both of them are new sections and quite possible, 90% chance that at least you will get questions from both of this section. I'm not saying even one, I'm saying both. First, let's understand what is 194N. Then I'll tell you what is the amendment that has come here. So here, the first thing, it is applicable only to a bank, cooperative society, a banking cooperative society and post office. Only to these 3 people it is applicable. Bank, cooperative banks and post office. They should be paying cash more than 1 crore to any person. So if there is any person who is withdrawing cash more than 1 crore, at the time of making such withdrawal, bank, cooperative bank or post office, they have to make sure TDS at 2% has been deducted on the amount and then they give. For example, if 2 crores is withdrawn, 2% of it has to be deducted and only the balance will go there. So that 4 lakhs will be taken as a deduction and the balance will be given to them. This they can claim, always the same concept of TDS applies. This amount can be claimed by them later when they are filing their own return. It can be set off against their tax liability, like we do it for advanced tax, TDS, TCS. This amount also is eligible to be set off there. Couple of things here. This comes in effect only from 1st September 2019. Okay, it comes in effect only from 1st September 2019. Say Mr. X, he is withdrawing, say 1.5 crores in the month of April and 1 crore in the month of December. Should TDS be applicable here or not? Yes, anyone? X is withdrawing 1.5 crores in April and 1 crore in December. will TDS be applicable for him or not?
Yes, for December 1 crore.
Very good. So for December, it will be applicable. This 2.5 crores. Okay. Okay. Let me even put it the other way around. Even if it was 0.5, say it is 2 crores put together. This amount we are going to see for the whole of the financial year. Okay. When we're talking about 1 crore, we have to check it for the whole financial year. But deduction will happen only after this date. If before this date he's withdrawn any amount, they can't do anything. They cannot go back in time and deduct it. So deduction is prospective, but for the calculation of the amount of 1 crore, they take up the aggregate withdrawal for the entire year. Okay. And then they will deduct the amount of TDS at 2%. This is again done. I'll explain you again. Okay, don't worry. I'll explain you once more what I'm talking about this one. Just trying to give a few more points. We still have a couple of points to cover in 194N. I'll come back again. So 194N, this is first thing applicable only to bank, cooperative society who are engaged in banking business, which means cooperative banks and post office. They are the deductors. Only they have to deduct the TDS. Any person who is withdrawing cash of more than 1 crore during the entire year. But please remember, deduction at 2% will happen only from 1/9/2019. Okay, only from 1st September onwards, they will start deducting it. But for the purpose of calculation of this 1 crore, they will take the figures from April. Okay, from April, they will start computing how much is the total withdrawal. This is what I've tried to explain you till now. I hope it is clear. Now, they say any person here. So because of this, there are a few people or few categories who are unnecessarily being subject to it. So they say they will be given an exception. Cash replenishment agencies and agents of white label ATM operators. Basically, this process of making sure ATMs have adequate cash supply all the time, it is outsourced to different ATM operators. Okay, they are called as white label ATM operators, and it is outsourced to their agents. So what they do is they come to the bank, take the money, and go to all the ATMs of the city and deposit the money there. In turn, they also keep a very good accounting with the bank, that this amount is going here, this amount is going here. The proper accounts, they give it to the bank. So and obviously they have to withdraw the money in cash only, because cash has to be deposited in all those ATMs. So if the money is going to this category, no deduction will be allowed. It's a regular routine work, and therefore it is logical also not to give them or not to make them subject to 194N. So they say no deduction will be allowed. Second, they say if there is any particular agent who is operating under agricultural produce market commodity and registered under law. So basically, who is he? They are basically commission agents who are acting as a middleman. They'll go to the agricultural market and they will pay all the farmers there. They'll take up the crops and give it to either the government or any other law established market. Yes. So here also all the farmers are required to be paid in cash. It is still not very common practice for all the farmers in the rural areas to maintain a bank account, and they need cash for their regular day-to-day affairs. Therefore, they will withdraw the cash in bulk and give it to the farmers. Even such people have been given the exemption here. Next one is your authorized dealer and franchise agent or full-fledged money changer licensed by RBI. So even here they are money exchanger and they are licensed ones. So they have to give them cash or they have to take cash only. Therefore, it is their nature of business, and they say even they will not be subject to 194N. So there will not be any deduction in these three cases. Your cash replenishment agencies or white label ATM operators, commission agents of Agricultural Produce Market Committee, and also money exchanger. Also, this shall not be applicable to government. So if government is withdrawing any money for their use, any other bank, okay, so one bank or one branch taking money from any other particular branch, even they will have the same non-applicability. Any business correspondent of a banking company also will fall under the same category. White label ATM operator is repeated here, and government can notify any other class they want. They haven't notified. It's only these categories that we have. But what is the amendment here? This is something you've already studied. What is the amendment here? Amendment says, okay, amendment says that for this category, which is given the exemption, okay, your business correspondent, white label ATM operator, all this category, even if they have got an exemption, when bank, cooperative bank, or your post office, when they are filing the return, when they are filing their TDS return and giving a list of people from whom they have deducted the tax, they should also mention these categories and say that tax is not being deducted on the amounts withdrawn by them, and this is the amount of withdrawal. Even though they are not deducting tax, information has to be given by bank, cooperative society, cooperative bank and post offices, that even though we are not deducting tax, this is the amount of withdrawal happening to these particular category. That is the amendment here. They have to make sure in the return they report properly what is the amount. No problem, you have not deducted, no problem, they have got the exemption, but it is important that it is intimated or informed later to the government also. Here, this is with regard to 194N. Any doubt with 194N? Any point you want me to repeat here, please let me know. You can also send me a private message. So I will move on to the next one, 194M. What is the amendment? Earlier, this category need not report the last part. Yes, the last part only is the amendment. And the fact that it is a new section coming middle of the year, 1/9/2019. So you have to be again very careful. It is more likely that it will be asked in the exam. The reporting part is the amendment which has come. That is, later on a circular has been issued with regard to it. And what you have to be careful is, it's a new section, so the chances that they ask question is 95%. Next one is 194M. If you all recall what is 194M, this was for individual and HUF who are not coming under 194C, 194H, 194J. That is, they were not required to deduct tax at source for contract, commission or professional fees under the sections 194C, H and J. Basically either salaried persons, because they were not subject to tax audit, or tax audit people spending money on their personal purposes, because that was not subject to, again, a business expense. Okay, I have one question. I'll address that first and then start with 194N. If 1.5 crore has been withdrawn, will the TDS under section 194N be on the amount in excess of 1 crore or the entire amount? Entire amount. Once it is crossing up 1 crore on the entire amount. Sorry, it's more than 1 crore, right? I think it will only be on that excess portion. On the excess portion. I'll confirm to you by the end of the class. Okay, just remind me again. This point alone, I'll confirm to you. I remember it is more than only on the excess portion, but still I'll confirm to you before the end of the class too. Let me start with 194N. So if a individual or HUF, okay, if during the entire financial year is paying to any particular contract work, commission, or professional fees in excess of rupees 50 lakhs, okay, this was a section already there in place, then the tax has to be deducted at 5%. This is your 194M. This is your 194M. Now, what is that they have notified here? This was already there in the section. There is no change happening here. What they have notified is, they have notified other requirements, like the section had only mentioned what is to be deducted, when it has to be deducted. After deduction, time limit to remit was not mentioned. How to remit was not mentioned. Within how many days to remit was not mentioned. TDS certificate to be issued, not mentioned. So all these things was not mentioned in the section. That is what has come about as an amendment. So deduction should happen at 5%. This is what is already there. Time limit, they say 30 days from the end of the month. "30 days from the end of the month." See, within a period of 30 days from the end of the month in which deduction is made. Suppose on 15th September, or let me take up, on 20th December, okay, 20th December, there is a payment happening. Say it is 75 lakhs. So they say on 20th December, there is a 75 lakhs payment happening. When is the month ending? 31st December. From this, you are given 30 days. Within that time, you have to deposit this 5% to the government. Okay? How to remit? So the time limit is 30 days from the end of the month in which such transaction is taking place. How to remit? Electronically. The only mode prescribed is electronically. If some of you can recall, in the class, I had even showed you how it is done electronically. We had gone to the website and seen how to even remit it. You have a link there. You have to fill in basic details like PAN and all these stuffs, and remittance happen. It will direct you to your bank account, net banking, or any other mode that is allowed there. We can use it. Remit it within same thing. How many days? This is the amount of days given. Okay. Now they say this category need not apply for a separate TAN number. So there is no requirement of TAN. Instead, there is a challan cum statement required to be filled by them. Normally, whenever we are remitting any TDS amount, we call it as challan. Okay. But in those cases where they don't have a TAN number, they have to make sure Because only if you have a TAN number, you can file your TDS return. If you don't have a TAN number, the requirement of challan cum statement comes in place. They'll have to furnish all the details along with their challan itself. What details are required to be furnished? To whom are they making payment? Their PAN number. So if X is remitting the amount to Y, so X will furnish both the PAN numbers of his own self and to whom he is making the payment, even their PAN number, on what date, what amount, and what is the purpose. Everything will be mentioned there in the challan cum statement. And of course, what is the amount of TDS also will be mentioned here. So it's a challan cum statement which has to be furnished within this 30 days. And it is called 26QD. It is called 26QD. You also remember 26QB and all others form that we came across, right? This is 26QD. So in 26QD, they have to do it electronically. It is, sorry, it is mandatory, it is remitted only electronically. Once this is filed, once your 26QD is filed, there is no separate requirement to file any TDS return. Why? It's a challan cum statement. So all the information is included in the challan itself. Also, they don't have a requirement to obtain TAN number. So they need not take up a separate TAN number and file it. Now, they have to issue TDS certificate, but so you have deducted, amount is remitted, and even a statement is furnished. So remittance and statement is together here. This two process is clubbed in 26QD. Now TDS certificate has to be issued. TDS certificate, the same rule, within 15 days. Within 15 days from the date of furnishing or filing this 26QD. Okay, they get 15 days of time from due date of filing QD. So within 15 days of QD, they can get this form. It is nothing but it is auto-generated, so they have to download it and give it to the concerned person. So this is your procedural aspect. This procedural aspect is what has been prescribed by CBDT in the notification now. The last rule is again a repetition only, same thing, within 30 days from the end of the month in which the reduction is made available. Same thing will apply here. Any doubt with 194M? Yes, if anyone has any doubt, please mention that. Can I move on to the next amendment? Okay. Before I even move on, let me clarify this also. 194N. This is more than 1 crore, which means if the amount is exceeding, sorry, I could hear my own voice. If the amount is exceeding 1 crore, only the additional portion will be subject to 2% tax. Till 1 crore, there will not be any deduction of tax. Anything more than anything more than 1 crore will be subject to tax. So in the example which was mentioned, 1.5 crores is the cash withdrawn. So here, 1 crore till 1 crore, no TDS. Only on the excess portion, 0.5 crore, 2% tax shall be deducted. Clear with that now? It is of more than 1 crore. So 1 crore is being taken as a threshold limit here. Any doubt? Can I move on to the next one? Okay. I think some of you are having network issues. Rejoin. Now, this is very important. All of you must be even hearing many advertisements about linking of Aadhaar and PAN. Yes, they are trying to make sure Aadhaar and PAN is being linked since a long time. But something or the other keeps happening and the dates are getting postponed. So we have two things here. Okay, we have a due date for the intimation of linking, and also if they don't have a PAN, but if they have an Aadhaar, how to go about giving them PAN. So here, say for example, X, he is having Aadhaar. He is having Aadhaar number, but no PAN. Okay, he is having an Aadhaar number, but he does not have a PAN. So they say such persons can be allotted PAN number in this prescribed mode. What is the prescribed mode? They say he has to fill in the details in a form, but no other further document will be required. So it has come with effect from 1st September, and they say that he can quote his Aadhaar number instead of PAN. Okay, and that will be deemed to be taken as application for allotment of PAN, and he will not be required to submit any other further document. Because if you have Aadhaar, they say it is more than enough. Instead of PAN number, if you're quoting your Aadhaar number, it is as good as if you're applying for a PAN number, and allotment shall take place without requiring to submit any further additional documents. Okay, so this will happen on its own when you're quoting your Aadhaar instead of PAN. If you want to apply a PAN also with Aadhaar, you can do so. He shall not be required to submit any other further documents under rule of those rules. I've told you even earlier, rule numbers are not that important at inter-level, but quote it only if you are thorough about it and very well knowing about it. Same applies even for your section number and cases. If you're thorough, if you're sure about it, you can quote it. But if you have even 1% doubt in it, please don't. So this is on allotment of PAN who has Aadhaar. Okay, even if they don't have a PAN, but if they have Aadhaar, if they are quoting their Aadhaar number, it shall be taken up as an application for allotment of PAN, and they need not submit any further documents, and PAN shall be allotted to them. Now, they have been extending this last date of linking Aadhaar and PAN. So it was started in 1st July 2017. Okay, and they said that within 31st March 2019, they have to complete this linking process. Then came another extension, 30th September 2019. Then came another extension, 31st December 2019. Then came another extension, 31st March 2020. And you all know very well what happened in March, COVID situation. Therefore, it is further extended till 31st March 2021. Okay, so now they have come up with this date, the last date of intimation of Aadhaar number to the prescribed authority. That means linking of Aadhaar and PAN. The last date is 31st March 2021. But even though this is the last date, please remember, with effect from 1/4/2019, if you're filing your return, it is mandatory to have Aadhaar number linked. Okay, if you are required to file your return of income under any of the other sections, and also if you're filing a return of income, it is mandatory with effect from 1/4/2019. That is after April 2019 onwards, if you have filed your return, it is important that there has been linking process completed. Could be manually or electronically. Unless they have been specifically exempt for some reason, it is mandatory. And others who are not required to file their return, they have to complete this process by 31st March 2021. Okay, this is what has happened. So all these dates you don't have to remember. Just remember 31st March 2021. There have been so many extensions. Forget about those. Remember 31st March 2021. And also remember this point, that if you're filing a return of income, it is mandatory to have the Aadhaar number quoted there by the linking process. Unless and until specifically you have got exemption from CBDT. Otherwise, you have to quote it. This is with regard to your Aadhaar and PAN. These are the amendments that has come. Okay. If you have any doubt with this, please let me know. Otherwise, there are two more points I would like to say before we wrap it up. Yes, if anyone has any doubt, want me to repeat any amendment first, please let me know that. You can even type in and let me know. Okay, you're asking me to have marginal relief and surcharge. Okay, with regard to your surcharge calculation, if there is a marginal relief also, I'll have to work out the sum and get the question for that first. So we'll do a thing, I'll send this working in the group. I'll work out the entire thing. I'll take up a sum which has short-term capital gain, long-term capital gain, and a differential rate of surcharge. Okay, not 10 and 10. Let me have 15 and 25 or 15 and 37. I'll work that out and send you in the group. We have this income tax amendment group where I'll be sharing this PPT also today. I'll also share this illustration with that. I hope that will do. Yes, any other requirement? Okay, now okay, some of you want me to repeat the first amendment, that is the surcharge part. I'll repeat that again. But let me just complete this. If anyone wants to stay for that surcharge bit alone, you can stay there. Last, we'll keep up the surcharge session. And with regard to the marginal relief with surcharge, I'll send you in the group. Yes. Now, please remember, in the exam, you will have different kinds of questions. MCQ, or you can have theory-based, or you can have a practical sum-based. Sometimes it can be a combination of both theory and practical based sum. MCQ is straightforward. You only have to take, or give the answer to A, B, C, D, whatever. If it's an MCQ, it's easier. Nothing to be done here. As far as theory and practical questions are concerned, please remember, even if it is a theory question or even if it is a practical question, sometimes you will be required to mention the section in full. Okay. So even if it is a question which is asking about TDS, say for example 194N comes as a question, and they give you a scenario and they ask you what will be the amount of tax deduction. Please see what is the marks. If it is for 5 marks or something, you will have to mention the entire provisions of 194N first before you directly move on to answering it. Most of the times, students only answer what is required as a last conclusion. You will have to explain what does 194N also say, subject to marks. Okay, if it's for 2 marks, not required. But if it is for 5 marks, it is required that you first explain what is the section talking about, and then you explain how to go about applying the section. That is majorly for your theory questions. Okay, majorly for your theory questions. If they ask you something like that, you will have to first mention the provisions and then say how it is to be applied. For the practical ones, that is for your sums and illustrations, please make sure you only quote sections if you're sure. I'm telling you again and again. Assumptions should be neatly mentioned. All the assumptions that you're doing, it should be mentioned at the end of the question very neatly. Your working notes should be linked with your main answer. Okay. Please remember, you'll be having your main answer followed by working notes, followed by assumptions. So your main answer should have a linking. This is coming from working note number 1. So if they see the working note number 1, they can clearly see what is the working done there. Same thing, working note number 2, 3, 4. Same way, make sure it is linked neatly. Many times we do the entire thing, but we forget to link. They are not going to have so much of time to, again, relink things for you. Okay, they are not going to have time to search about where have you done the working of it. No, it's better you link it. Also, if you want to explain any part of theory in the practical sum, sometimes it happens, right? So you give it as a part of your working note itself, not as assumption. If you're saying personal expense, for example, if there is a personal drawing which you're not giving a deduction, so you will mention that the personal expense is not permitted as a deductible expenditure under 37. So that comes as a working note point itself. So any item that you're omitting in the question, any item that you're omitting in the question and not giving effect to, even that you will have to mention in your notes. Okay, so if there is a particular item like say LIC paid or premium paid or anything, say medical expense premium, but it is paid in cash. If you're not giving deduction for any reason of the section, you will have to mention that reason in your working note. Okay, all that will be important here. Anything else that you want me to first address to? I will then repeat the surcharge part.
While writing the theory, if we should explain in detail wise, or if we write in based on the time.
It depends based on marks.
Oh.
If it is for more marks, write in detail. If it is for less marks, even concise would do. Again, please don't write active and passive voice. You know, BCom students have this habit of repeating the same point. Repeating the same point. Okay, I'll come by one, okay. So what happens is, BCom students, we see many people are repeating the same point. First you'll say in active voice and then you'll say in passive voice. Please don't do that in CA exams. Have it mentioned in points. If you can mention 1, 2, 3, 4, that is brilliant. Have it mentioned in points. Yes, make sure your points are not repeated. Saves you time, as well as the one who is reading also will not get irritated. If one step goes wrong, will the whole sum be wrong? It depends on which step is going wrong. It totally depends upon which step is going wrong. If it is something which is very important, mostly in income tax, it is important that you get the last final answer right. Okay. Sometimes they do ask things in bits and pieces. So that time, even if that particular step or calculation is correct, they do give marks. Should we draw format first and subsequently the working notes and fill the format of total income? Sorry, I didn't get this. Regarding your space and alignment issues, you will only understand that when you practice. That's why I always say keep practicing, okay? The more, yes, regarding the space, the more you practice, the more idea you will get how much space you need. I always advise, leave a little extra space. It's okay. Get an additional sheet, it's okay. And in case you want to do your own workings, which you don't want them to be explained, you cannot write anything in the question paper, you know that. But still, if you want to do your own calculation somewhere for your own rechecking purpose or anything, you can either use the bottom of the sheet and just mention it as, you know, workings or something, or you can use your last page and later score it. Don't forget to score it out, that you don't want the examiner to even bother understanding it. Space, yes. So first you will be having your main question followed by working note. So you should have a rough idea of how much you require in your main total income part, and then you follow by the working note. So in the total income part, always keep extra space. Example of 194N. Okay. Now, please remember, 1/9/2019 is the cutoff date here for 194N. Okay. Suppose a person is withdrawing cash after this 1/9/2019. Any amount which is withdrawn in excess of rupees 1 crore, that excess portion will be subject to 2% TDS. Clear with that? Now, let me take up this case. In April, he's withdrawn 1.5 crores. In December, he's withdrawing additional 0.5 crores. Comes a question. In April, there is no requirement of TDS. Why? Because the section itself was not applicable there. What about December? In December, will he be subject to TDS? Yes. Why? Because it is first after September, and second, you will aggregate up the amount of withdrawal for the whole year. Aggregate amount, is it exceeding rupees 1 crore? Yes. So then on the excess portion, here we are only bothered on the December payment. So when the December withdrawal happens, it shall be subject to TDS at 2%. This was the example of 194N that I had given. Rule 6 ABBA. Okay, Rule 6 ABBA is only stressing on this point about bank holiday. Rest of the things are the same. Almost similar contents of 6DD only. Only thing is about your bank holiday. It is only stressing on that. You also get RTP and mock test. Okay, don't forget to even see your RTP. If you want, I'll share the RTP of income tax even in the group. Yes, any other doubt? I'll start with the surcharge part. Someone had asked me to explain surcharge. So I'm not going with the basic rates. Okay, this is something you already know. Surcharge is coming under different categories of 10, 15, 25 and 37% depending upon the total income. And also please remember, this is only for individual HUF, AOP, artificial judicial person, and not for other persons. Okay. Now, they say that 25 and 37%, which is the enhanced surcharge, that shall not be applied if they are having income under 111A and 112A. What is this? This is short-term and long-term capital gain arising on equity shares subject to STT. Okay, if STT has been paid at the time of transfer, then they would be taxed under these sections, and that time the tax rate will not have additional surcharge of 25 and 37, but they will have only 10 and 15. So maximum surcharge that can be coming for 111A, 112A is going to be 15% only. Now they've given you different scenarios. Here, see, if the total income is, in this case, it was 95 lakhs, right? Total income. This falls within the first category, 50 to 1 crore. So every income will be subject to 10% only. Second category here, 60, 65 and 50. This was 175 lakhs or 1.75 crores. So this was coming in the range of 1 to 2 crore. So there 15%. So if you are applying 15% for your capital gain and for other income, no problem. Only thing we cannot apply is 25 and 37. So 15 if it is applied on the total part, no problem. Let's take up the next case. Here other income is 3 crores. So which means 25% will be the applicable surcharge. If I take up along with your along with the along with the capital gains. Yes, other income along with capital gains. This falls within the tax bracket of 2 to 5 crores. So 25% will be the applicable surcharge. So they say on the other income you apply this 25%. Why? It is more than 2 crores. But on this part, on the equity capital gains, you can apply only a maximum of 15%. So surcharge would be applicable only at 15% on 111A, 112A and 25 on the rest of the portion. Same thing, similar example is given here. If your other income is falling in the category of more than 5 crores, you will apply 37%, but maximum that you can apply for your short-term and long-term capital gain on equity shares will only be 15%. Okay, the remaining can be subject to 37. The last example is important. They say, what if your total income, including capital gain, and if that is exceeding 2 crores? Okay, so here they're asking you to bifurcate. See how much is your capital gain portion, how much is your other income. Capital gain is 60 plus 55. Other income is 110 lakhs. Then accordingly, on the bifurcated amount, you will give surcharge. So this will be subject to 15%, maximum 15. And this is also falling in the range of 1 to 2 crores. So again, 15%. This is with regard to your surcharge. Please be careful about the fifth point here. Okay, this particular question, is it? See, April, already they have withdrawn the amount. You cannot do anything about the withdrawal which has happened already in April. So only the December amount or any amount withdrawn after 1st September 2019, only that will be subject to 2%. So only 0.5 crores will be subject to 2%. April withdrawal has already happened. That time you did not even have 194N. So the bank could not have done anything. Now, only it is happening in this way. Okay, due date of filing of return of income, it is October, November, 2 days notified till now. And there is again a chance that it might get extended. We never know because of this COVID situation. That's why it is not even mentioned in your amendments part. So maybe I am not going to ask questions to you. If they ask questions, how do you write it? You will mention what is the normal due date, which is your July for non-tax and September for tax. So you'll mention 31st July and 30th September. Okay, you'll mention these dates and you will say it has been extended for the particular year based on the government circular and notification. Be on the safer side. Clear with this part? If they ask you anything or any question with regard to due date, this is how you will address it for this year, because it is extended, but we still don't know whether the extension will hold good or not. So you will say normal due dates are 31st July and 30th September, but in 2019-20 financial year or assessment year 2021, the same had been extended subject to the notifications or circulars issued by CBDT. If specific date of amendment is not given, it is with effect from 1/4/2019, not 31/3/2020, from the starting of the financial year. If they have mentioned a date in your amendment, well and good from that particular date. If date is not mentioned right from the beginning of the financial year, it will be applicable. Most of the amendments do come with a date.
Ma'am, in suppose of depreciation rates, whether if the motor car is acquired before 22nd August and purchased, put to use on 23rd August, then whether the increased
When is
depreciation
it
rate will be
purchased?
applicable? 22nd August.
No, then a normal rate only. Two things, two conditions. One is it should be acquired and put to use in the state bracket. That is 23rd August to 31st March. Two things should happen. It should be purchased and put to use, acquired and put to use. Even if one condition is not met, no extended depreciation rate. Because this immediately came once the meeting was held of the people, everyone who is bought earlier, even if they bought in April or May, they'll start claiming the same thing, that we had not used it for additional depreciation. So they wanted the sales of auto industry to go up post the amendments. It's not fulfilling that purpose then.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. If you have any other doubt, let me know with regard to amendments. That's it for now. If anything else, I'll post up in the group, okay? Give me a couple of days time. Today I'll post the PPT, and if I want to post anything else, I'll be in the group. At least for a couple of days, I'll keep the group active. Then we can come out of it. Will you be able to understand anything with these return notes? I don't mind sharing it, but if you're able to understand or not understand, you take a call then. I can share this also. Some of you are asking for the return notes. I can share this, but I don't know how much you'll be able to understand. Okay, I'll send you this. Okay, a few more illustrations you want, I will send that also with regard to surcharge. Okay, the surcharge part alone, 2-3 illustrations I will send in the group. With regard to surcharge, 2-3 illustrations I will additionally send in the group. Vinola, you want to ask something? Okay, that raise hand was